Each for all. Madam Chair, Minister Monica's Parliament's Sister Issy, Honorable Minister, our very special guest, my Lord Bishop, our keynote speaker, Sister Janet, Nana Achompemima of the Caribbean, fellow St. Monicans, all protocols observed. I feel very honored as the chair of the anniversary committee to be asked to perform this task. I could not have been given a better role than to introduce an eminent personage from my neck of the woods, Achimrisa, Achimkotoku, my hometown. Born in Achimoda, my fellow Achim lady attended Laboni Secondary School, now Senior High School. Went to Fantsman Girls in the Central Region for 6th form. She then...
the other way around.
She went to Fantsman and rather to Laboni. Okay. She then proceeded to the University of Ghana and also to the law school in Legon, where she obtained an LLB. She was called to the bar in 1990. She also has a master's degree in conflict resolution, peace and security from Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center. She worked as a lawyer for 10 years before heading a technology company. In 2012, she was elected to be the Member of Parliament for the Ablekuma West constituency, which she retained with ease for 3 consecutive terms. Prior to her current position as the Minister of Communications, she served on different boards and in different capacities in her professional career. She was the Managing Consultant, NU Consult, a Legal Governance and Gender Consultant, a Director of Vodafone Ghana Company Limited. She is an executive member of the International Federation of Women Lawyers, FIDA Ghana, a member of the African Women Lawyers Association, AWA Ghana. To crown it all, she is the Nkoswanyama of Achim Esium in the Kwaribre district of the Eastern Region. She is a family woman with 3 children, happily married to Mr. Sam Ekufo, whose eye clinic is the place to go for your state-of-the-art eye test and glasses. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to present to you our special guest of honor, Mama Nkoswanyama, the Honorable Minister of Communication and Digitalization, Mrs. Ursula Owusu.
Auntie Paulina forgot to add that she's my aunt. So I'll say that for her. Professor Chair, Madam Janet Ambedu-Fofi, Chair of the Public Services Commission, Nana Chempem-Hema of Akrepem, the representative of the Anglican Bishop of Accra, all students of St. Monica's Secondary School. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, friends of the media, all protocols observed. It's a great honor Thank you. It's a great honor and privilege for me, and I'm filled with pride to be invited to join you to to celebrate 75 years of quality girls' education by arguably one of the best girls' schools in the country. I'm indeed grateful for the invitation and commend the Old Students Association for their continued support to the school, especially with regards to the current initiative to support the building of an ultra-modern library and ICT center. Madam Chair, the theme for this forum, Educating Girls in the World of Technology, is apt and timely in my view, in view of our determination to employ technology as a tool for the economic transformation of our country. Despite the progress made in girls' education, girls continue to be underrepresented in the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics education, and consequently in STEM careers as well. Many challenges facing the girl child in education have been dealt with over the years, and the sociocultural barriers, access and quality to education issues continue to be addressed through the policy interventions of government, and the flagship free SHS policy has broken down a major impediment to education, which is the cost of accessing education. However, one major challenge is currently the gross underrepresentation of girls in STEM disciplines. This is not just an educational challenge, it is a developmental concern which needs to be addressed if we are to harness the full benefits of that technology offers for our people. In 2017, UNESCO estimated in its report titled Cracking the Code, Girls and Women's Education in STEM, that only 35% of STEM students in higher education globally are women, and differences are observed within STEM disciplines and in specific countries. But the picture is even more worrying when it comes to information and communication technologies, where it is estimated that only 3% of female students in higher education opt for ICT studies, which also means that women make up just a fraction of the workforce in these STEM-related fields. It's also estimated that women hold just 24% of all jobs in the digital economy as of 2018, and these statistics have not changed much since then. We shouldn't allow this disparity to persist, especially when we are in an era where technology drives everything we do, and STEM careers are the jobs of the future, driving innovation, social well-being, inclusive growth, and sustainable development. Nation building requires the contribution of all, and technology is the key driver of growth and the economic and social transformation in the recent history of the world. The COVID pandemic has taught us that everything went virtual, and so for those who didn't know how or didn't have the connectivity or the devices to engage in the virtual world, it means that they were cut off and were unable to communicate. Even though we see prospects, the digital revolution is revealing an underrepresentation of women in terms of their contribution to this transformation agenda. The 2020 study by the Anita B. Organization Institute found that women make up 28.8% of the tech workforce, a very slow increase from the past few years, because they were 25.9% in 2018 and 26.2% in 2019, and in 2020 are only 28.8%. Increasingly, the participation of women is therefore critical for the overall developmental agenda. Government has made few interventions over the years to bridge the gender education divide and the gender digital divide. But through the Ministry of Education, complemented by the Ministry of Communications, government has sought to remedy the situation by introducing some interventions targeting access, STEM, gender application of ICT, and administrative arrangements. Some are the free SHS policy, the science, technology, and mathematics education clinics, which were set up in various schools, establishment of a girls' education unit in the Ministry of Education, a science education unit as well, and launch of gender-responsive teaching in maths and science, and integration of ICT as a tool for resourceful management for effective teaching and learning, and targeted scholarship schemes. In spite of these interventions, however, the problem still persists, and the underrepresentation of women in STEM activities still there, and there's a widening digital gender gap. So we need to address this elephant in the room head-on and increase access to the internet by investing in the infrastructure to extend coverage in underserved areas, increase levels of digital literacy through ICT education, and ensure online safety by intensifying awareness creation. And that's where the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization comes in. Madam Chair, the world is technology driven, and we are transitioning to a virtual way of living. Our ability to adapt to innovative ways of doing things is essentially important to our very survival. Technology has proven to be the key to improving what we do and deriving maximum benefits from it. We've been able to manage the pandemic largely because of the role technology played and is still playing. The ministry is therefore poised to facilitate the adoption and use of technology in all sectors of our economy, including education, as part of the digital transformation agenda of government, and to engender efficiency, improve productivity, and facilitate growth. None of the digital interventions that we're putting in place would be possible without connectivity. And so a key focus of this government is to ensure that we have robust digital infrastructure connecting all our institutions and our countryside. And we are currently implementing the Rural Telephony and Digital Inclusion Project, which is connecting 2016 unserved and underserved communities around the country to voice and data connectivity and coverage, to ensure that they also can take part in all the digital interventions that are currently ongoing. There's some gender-specific interventions in digital literacy that we've also adopted. And we know that digital adoption and use can offer women and girls in particular opportunities to overcome the hurdles that they may face in the digital world. It can empower women and girls, help expand their sense of self-worth, increase civic engagement, and raise the awareness of their rights. In my opinion, it will also facilitate flexible working hours for women, enabling them to combine their caregiving roles and careers effectively, working from home with digital platforms. During the pandemic and the shutdown, many public organizations and even private institutions split their workforce, half worked from home and half worked in their offices to facilitate social distancing. It worked. We used the technology to enable them to do so. And so through Zoom conferences, team conferences and all that, we're still able to engage. It's now making us reassess what we consider the office. If we can provide the digital tools for women to work, or the workforce to work comfortably from home, do we all need to congregate in one physical space to ensure that the work is done? The pandemic has taught us that no. But all of that will be possible if we have robust connectivity, and we're working actively to ensure that. And for women, it means that you can take care of the children yourselves while holding down your job as well. And none of the two, the family or the career, ought to suffer. And the bridge which will facilitate that is technology. And so women should embrace acquisition of digital skills, which at whichever stage in life they are, I believe even more actively than men should, because of the freedom that it gives us to combine family responsibilities with our world of work as well. I also believe that if we better understand the role of technology and the opportunities it provides, and find a better way to communicate it to our young girls, while at the same time showcasing female role models in that field, we stand a better chance of churning out more and more technology-focused young women. That has been our underlying principle and finds expression in our girl-focused initiatives. I pride myself as being a women's rights advocate, but now I'm also seeing myself as a technology advocate for women. Largely because ICTs are gender neutral and have the potential to empower our women and girls by providing them with the critical and sought-after skills in the world today, which can guarantee economic freedom for them and put them in a better position to assert their rights. According to the International Finance Corporation Digital Stocktaking Report 2019, Ghana's labor force's demand for digital skills is expected to reach 9 million people by 2030. We are nowhere near meeting that demand as we speak. But if we start now, we'll be able to bridge that gap. And this brings me to my intended conversation about the Girls in ICT program, which is a women and girls-centered intervention of my ministry. It's an annual program instituted by the ministry in line with the International Telecommunications Union's directive that we institute programs targeted at narrowing the gender digital divide. It provides a platform for Ghanaian girls in age 9 to 16, meaning from primary through junior high to senior high schools, to acquire digital skills and stir up and interest them to pursue ICT courses at higher educational and professional levels. The purpose of this initiative is to encourage and empower girls and young women to consider studies and careers in ICTs, enabling both the girls and technology companies to reap the benefits of greater female participation in the sector. About 5,000 girls have been trained so far since the inception of this initiative in 2012 in Ghana. Since 2017, when we took office, a mentorship session has been incorporated into this program for girls to interact with female achievers in the ICT space. Teachers from participating schools have also been trained to extend the program beyond the selected beneficiaries and to help mainstream it in ICT education in their schools. For the women schools, ultra-modern ICT laboratories have also been set up, and over 500 best-performing girls have received laptops and internet routers to enable them to continue practicing the coding skills acquired as well as acquire more digital skills. It's also intended to introduce those in their immediate surroundings to ICT. We were not content with the modest successes that we had achieved. From being an annual celebration, we moved it to a biannual one, and we're seeking to even institutionalize it even further across the country. And we actively sought funding, which was the limiting factor, to enable us to extend the scope and reach of this program. I'm happy to announce that in the last few days, we have received support from 2 major telecommunications companies to expand the Girls in ICT program, with MTN pledging to provide 10 million CDs over 3 years to support this program. Huawei, a major telecommunications equipment manufacturer, is also currently developing programs focused on cutting-edge training for girls from the primary to the tertiary level, introducing them to artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, blockchain technology, all the major new innovations in this space. And details of this exciting scheme will be unveiled shortly. We're still working it out. And of course, St. Monica's will be included in the beneficiary. As well as my own alma mater. Okay. St. Monica's will be included in the list of beneficiaries, as well as Infants Man and other girls in the house. This one is pure Kukufu, and I make no apologies about it. As Dr. Fofi indicated, we have all heard about the exploits of Mamfi Methodist Girls Senior High School, who blazed the trail in winning the 2019 International Robotics and Coding Competition, competing against the best in the world and beating them. The Americans, Chinese, Japanese, Indians, Singaporeans, they were all there. And our girls from small Mamfi gave them an uppercut. Oh, okay. They continue to excel and will be supported and encouraged to do even more. But what all this teaches us is that given the right opportunities and exposure, our young people can hold their own in the digital world. It is our duty, and the President has charged us to ensure that we provide the framework, opportunities, infrastructure, training, and whatever else is required for them to be able to acquire the right digital skills and training today to equip them for the new normal virtual or blended world of work. With our demographic dividend, African youth of today will be providing the global human systems with the human resource requirements of tomorrow. Africa has a youthful population. Europe and the rest of the world have an aging population. All the systems that they're putting in place today will need human resources to man them in the future. If we give our young people the digital skills that they require today, we will stand them in good stead to sit in Ghana, in Zuarungu, or Achindan, or wherever, and operate the digital systems put in place across the world and earn a decent living sitting right here in our country. We can take a cue from what India has done. It focused on ICT education and training, and today, almost all global ICT companies have significant numbers of people of Indian extraction in their workforce. From Google, through Facebook, through Twitter, you name it. It's happening, and we can also tap into that lucrative world with deliberate policies as we have started doing. The Ministry of Communications and Digitalization also has several youth-focused interventions to equip the youth with digital skills to manage our transforming economy and meet the labor market expectations of our growing digital economy. We have community ICT centers, as well as the Accra Digital Center, that provides support to digital startups and provide digital literacy skills for citizens. As a deliberate policy, a minimum of 40% of all trainees in the Accra Digital Center are required to be women and girls. I encourage our young women to take advantage of these opportunities to empower themselves. Various training programs are currently ongoing, and we hope to scale it up across the country under the Ghana Cares Obatampa COVID Recovery Initiative that is being run by the Ministry of Finance in collaboration with beneficiary institutions. We're going to be setting up regional innovation centers across the country to replicate innovation hubs and technology parks, mini technology parks, as has been done at the Accra Digital Center. where young people who are so inclined can go and experience the various digital trainings and skills opportunities available. And as they learn and play, they acquire new skills which they can put to good use in their own lives. The lack of visible female role models has also been identified as one of the reasons for the low interest of women in ICT and STEM education. A critical component of the Girls in ICT program is therefore the Mentorship Day, when these girls get the opportunity to meet and interact with accomplished women in the industry to encourage them to take up studies and careers in ICT. We are planning the next Girls in ICT Day celebration for the Western North region, and the climax will be on the 15th of this month. And we're currently training 1,000 girls from very remote parts of that region. And there will be a regional competition, and the best of them will be hosted in Sefiyo also, where they would receive prizes to encourage them to continue to have an interest in STEM education. They will meet and interact with mentors, female mentors, who will spend some time with them. As part of this program as well, we bring the 100 best girls from this cohort, each cohort, to Accra to spend a week interacting with women in their workplaces using technology, so that they see that all that we've been exposing them to is not just theory, but women are actually working actively in the technology fields. One lady, in one of the earlier programs, I forget in which region, we've done this across the country. We haven't finished. We're going to the newly created regions now. We did Oti last year, Western North this year. The pandemic slowed us down. We're going to do about 3 a year, but with the additional funding that we've received, we're now going to do 3 next year and take it from there. One young lady, when we asked during the mentorship session what her career aspiration was, told us that she had wanted to be a nurse, but after the Girls in ICT program, she's now going to be a software developer, which I found intriguing. And so if we increase our interaction and exposure of young girls to the world of technology, many, many more of them will consider taking up ICT careers. And the government of Ghana is committed to providing the youth with a functional ICT-driven educational system that responds to the challenges and evolution in modern science and technology. Accordingly, President Akufo-Addo's government is focused on affording every community with ICT infrastructure to keep them in touch with global trends and also equip our youth with the skills that will be necessary for Ghana's transformation. We're working in partnership with the Ghana Investment Fund for Electronic Communications, GIFIC, and we've already equipped over 800 educational institutions and 226 community ICT centers with ICT devices and connectivity across the country. We've also embarked on a number of capacity building initiatives to over 400,000 citizens, that's GIFIC, to train through a Train the Trainer initiative, an intentional and deliberate approach to accelerate digital literacy. We must build the foundation to create a skilled and qualified workforce to respond to emerging challenges and shape our economy for prosperity. Today, a number of rural communities have digital equipment and the fast broadband they need at school, and teachers are confident about using ICT technology in the classroom. We're also implementing a 3-year partnership program with the International Telecommunications Union, the Norwegian government, and Cisco Systems, which we dubbed the Digital Transformation Center Initiative. And we aim to build an inclusive digital society to ensure that lack of knowledge and skills is not a barrier to participation in the digital economy. We're training 14,000 Ghanaians with job-ready digital skills through the community ICT centers spread throughout the country, especially in our underserved communities. Last week, I was in the Asen Fosu area, and at one of the Digital Transformation Center training sessions that were conducted at the Asen Fosu Regional Zonal Office of GIFIC, I was informed that 70% of the trainees were women.
Wow.
Yes. We can only encourage more women to take advantage of these opportunities because we're creating them. We shouldn't just leave them for the men alone. We're not discriminating against men. We're evening the playing field. That's all we're trying to do. Ghana needs to reap the full potential of these opportunities so that we deliver higher quality education and the digital skills and values essential for the future lives and careers of our young and adult populations. And in fact, it's not just the young people who need digital skills. We all do. We also need to invest in adult learners. Maybe we even have the most to gain from the digital revolution. So I'll urge all of us here in this room to acquire digital skills because it is an enabler for adults to participate effectively in lifelong learning and to stay connected even when we become less physically mobile. In fact, I'm going to embarrass her, but I always use her as an example. Dr. Okwa Evijevi is here. If you do more Facebooking than she does, she's sitting up at midnight Facebooking.
I'm sure she's doing it.
Okay, I don't see her device with her. I will disclose her age, and she is 79 years old. Yes. So if at 79 she's an active Facebooker, none of us can say that we are too old to utilize social media. She has a whole family on Facebook, a whole clan on children on Facebook, and it's helping her to still stay young and connected. So let us all take advantage of the opportunities that social media provides to meet and interact across the globe. If education is indeed to become lifelong, we need to make sure that it is easily available to everyone, wherever they live or work. I was going to talk about the Bisbee competition, but I'll skip that. But our emphasis on mentorship and coaching sessions are in line with our belief that, and I quote, outstanding women can function as inspirational examples of success, illustrating the kinds of achievements that are possible for women around them. They demonstrate that it is possible to overcome traditional gender barriers, indicating to other women that high levels of success are indeed attainable. Unquote. That's from Penelope Lockwood, who is a psychologist. And she couldn't have said it any better. Other initiatives aimed at expanding and deepening the usage and increasing the adoption of ICTs across the board include ICT to enhance teaching and learning projects, which GIFEC is also undertaking. And 1,400 rural school teachers have been trained in the use of ICT to facilitate effective teaching and learning, to ensure that students have the best of classroom experience to enable them to make meaningful contribution to the national development agenda. The Ministry of Education, the e-Transform project, which is being implemented by the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization, has also trained about 5,000 teachers already. I know that the Ministry of Education intends to mainstream ICT teaching and learning in the curriculum, and coding has already been included in the curriculum of our schools. That's the easiest way to introduce children at all levels to ICT education. A few days ago, I'm not sure if it was even yesterday, I think, the government has provided 1 laptop per teacher, and 350,000 laptops have been procured and are in the process of being distributed to all teachers around the country. To enable them to teach our children effectively, they must also learn how to use those ICT tools and make it commonplace and everyday in the way they teach. We also have a schools connectivity project, which is providing high-speed computers, printers, scanners, projectors, servers, and internet connectivity to educational institutions around the country through giving. A number of institutions have also been fully equipped with ICT laboratories and internet connectivity provided for a total of about 500 schools in the country. The World Bank funded e-Transform project is also in the process of equipping 200 senior high schools with 40-seater ultra-modern ICT labs. The procurement process has started, and we're working very closely with the Ministry of Education on this as well. If St. Monica's isn't included, I'm going to find out why. And this is a Ministry of Education project. So they have listed the beneficiary schools. But there are always ways of amending these lists. That's why I say I'm going to find out why the isn't included. I must sound a note of caution, however. The other side of digitalization is cyber crime. And so as we expose more children or encourage more children to use digital tools and applications, we need to remind everyone that several risks are associated with digital technology, including online harassment from strangers, cyberbullying, cyber stalking, unsolicited sexual messages or images, non-consensual sharing of intimate ideas, child sexual exploitation and abuse, as well as data security and privacy risks. Women and girls are at great risk of digital harm if they don't know how to protect themselves. We passed the cybersecurity law. We are in the process of, last year, yes, we're in the process of implementing it and setting up a cybersecurity authority. We're stepping up education on cyber hygienic practices to use simple steps we can take to protect ourselves, and will continue to do so. And we're focusing on that because the Web Foundation estimates that 52% of young women globally have experienced some form of digital harm, and 87% of them believe the problem is getting worse. Data from our National Cybersecurity Center indicates that 90% of incidents relating to non-consensual sharing of intimate images, online blackmail, they've actually coined a word, sextortion, sexual extortion. So sextortion are reported by young women. 90%. That's high. So government is taking cybersecurity seriously because it has the potential to undermine all the gains we have made with respect to the use of technology, especially by women and girls. And provision has been made for the Cybersecurity Authority, which is being institutionalized now, to have a special focus on cyber hygienic training for women and girls. A lot of women have blazed the trail in this technology space. And I think we need to pay homage to some of that, because some of the tools that we're using currently that we believe are indispensable to life generally were developed by women. Ada Lovelace, 1815 to 1852, was the first computer programmer, as well as the inventor of the world's first programming language, and of course, of computer programming itself. A woman, 1815. She was born in 1815 and died in 1852. She started tinkering around with computers then, long before it became fashionable. Navy Rear Admiral Gray Hopper is fondly called the Queen of Software by some and Grandma COBOL by others, because she was involved with the invention of some of the early English language programming in 1958. Grandma COBOL is a computer programming language. She developed it. Hedy Lamarr invented Wi-Fi. She was a self-taught inventor and film actress who was awarded a patent in 1942 for her secret communication system designed with the help of the composer George Antheil. This frequency hopping system was intended as a way to set radio-guided torpedoes off course during the war, but the idea eventually inspired Wi-Fi, GPS, and Bluetooth technology, which are commonly used today. A woman. Annie Easley was a NASA rocket scientist and a trailblazer for gender and racial diversity in STEM. There are many, many unsung heroines of technology, and I think we need to celebrate that. In Ghana too, we have some. Yes, we have some. We have Ivy Bali, developers in Vogue, a young girl who's won international awards for software applications and development, software development. Lucy Quist used to be the MD of Airtel Tigo. Patricia Obonai is the MD of Vodafone. In fact, during one of my first international engagements at the ITU in 2017, I believe, I spoke about the evolution of women in leadership in technology. Years ago, when I was heading Westel in this country, I was the only female CEO of a telecoms company in this country at the time. All my colleagues were males. In 2017, when I was making that presentation, 3 of the telecoms companies in Ghana at the time were headed by women, and only 1 by a man. But that has also changed, and we stand the risk of losing even the only female standing currently, Patricia. But we'll see. We'll see. We need to make the women in technology more visible and make them lead technology first. Dorothy Gordon is also one who plays the role for many years. She's heading a UNESCO organization currently, and Regina Honu is also one of the developers who are among an emerging generation of Ghanaian women who have taken over the world of technology through hard work, dedication, and are serving so well as models for our young girls to aspire to. Farida Bedwe, who is physically challenged, is also very, very active in the world of technology. So is Estelle Akufio-Sowa, who is heading Google C-Squared, and Busy Internet is also headed by a woman. And concluding, it is refreshing to note that you, Smosa, have chosen to live by the age-old adage that to whom much is given, much is expected. and have decided to use this anniversary to give back to the school that made you who you are today. I believe this will serve as a major source of inspiration to alumni of other schools to emulate this gesture, if they haven't done so yet. I see a bright future for students of St. Monica Senior High School in the ever-changing world of ICT. And it is a shared responsibility of government and the old students and parents, as you indicated, to get them there. I wish to assure you of my ministry's and my personal support in the provision of an ultra-modern ICT center for I've already started lobbying for you. And I personally pledged 5,000 CDs to Let's continue to encourage and pursue programs and for our young people in this highly competitive field. The future is ICT and STEM. And our young girls must prepare themselves adequately for it so that they also contribute to national development. For us, our own Kofi Annan said, there is no tool for development more effective than the empowerment of women. And we will empower our women with the digital tools that they need and skills that they need to succeed in the fourth industrial revolution. And on this note, I wish you a pleasant and fulfilling celebration. Thank you.